Buckle up, adventurers. Every year, hundreds of fearless climbers dare to conquer Mount Everest, but they're not just facing icy gusts and heart-stopping drops. This giant, 29,000 feet tall puzzle has secrets buried beneath its rugged surface. Get ready for the most epic tale of the unbelievable finds made on this mountain and the spine-tingling truths behind them. You might think you know Mount Everest's story, but did you know that Sir Edmund Hillary wasn't the first to reach the top? In fact, the British Empire was in a high-stakes competition way back in the early 20th century to claim both the north and south routes. Talk about mountain pressure. Now, let's dive into the epic quest for Mount Everest supremacy. The British Empire was determined to revive its glory by dominating this mighty mountain, and they sent their bravest adventurers on a mission to conquer the so-called Third Pole. One of these fearless explorers was George Mallory, an experienced climber with a taste for the ultimate challenge. In 1921, he mapped out Everest's surroundings like a treasure hunter, providing crucial clues that would guide future climbers. But little did anyone know, this was just the beginning. Mallory had his eyes on the top prize. The next year, he led an audacious expedition up Everest's north face and shattered records by reaching an incredible 27,300 feet high. They were making history, but their journey was far from over. But here's the harsh reality: George Mallory and his team had reached their limits. The extreme altitude proved too much for them, forcing them to abandon their quest for the top. They wisely turned back to ensure survival, but little did they know that they were venturing into a zone where many others wouldn't be so lucky. Welcome to the infamous Death Zone, an area above 26,000 feet where the air is thin and the risks are real. It's called the Zone of No Return for good reason, as it's here that most tragic events unfold. And get this, Mallory's team bravely pushed through 1,300 feet of this treacherous terrain before deciding to descend, leaving us wondering what secrets the Death Zone still holds. Now, here's a crucial piece of history that might surprise you. George Mallory's team wasn't just any ordinary group. They were pioneers who used bottled oxygen for the first time ever to tackle the Everest challenge. But even with this game-changing tech, they still fell short of reaching the summit. What they did achieve is nothing short of incredible. They pushed the record for highest altitude reached by humans, with Mallory himself reaching an astonishing 27,000 feet. Two team members went even further, but unfortunately, their breathing apparatus gave out, cutting their climb short. And guess what? This wasn't a one-off attempt. The British were back at it in 1924, determined to conquer the mighty Everest once and for all. Let's dive into the intense action from June 1924. On June 4th, Lieutenant General Edward Norton reached an incredible 28,126 feet, shattering previous altitude records. Meanwhile, George Mallory was gearing up for round 2. He had another shot at claiming the summit title and reclaiming his record. But here's where it gets really interesting. With team leader Charles Bruce suddenly falling ill, Norton took charge as deputy head, while Mallory chose a surprising partner for this high-stakes adventure. Meet Andrew Sandy Irvine, an unlikely climbing buddy who might have seemed like a risk to some. But he had one major advantage: he was a pro at fixing the breathing apparatus. Could Irvine's skills be the key to helping Mallory reach the top of Everest? Get ready for the thrilling next chapter. With Charles Bruce out of commission, Mallory takes the reins and leads the charge. On June 6th, Mallory, his partner Andrew Sandy Irvine, and 8 trusted porters set off from Base Camp 4, making their way to Camp 5 by nightfall. The mood is optimistic, calm weather and a spring in their step give them hope for a triumphant summit. Fast forward to the early hours of June 8th, Mallory and Irvine leave Camp 5, reporting they've hit the rock band at the foot of Everest's peak by 8 a.m. But here's what makes things go from exciting to concerning. Team member Noel Odell finds an oxygen cylinder belonging to Irvine with a critical missing part, the mouthpiece. How will this setback affect Mallory and Irvine's chances? The stakes are high now. Back at base camp, Noel Odell and the team are buzzing with news that Mallory and Irvine have launched their final push for the summit. They scan the horizon, but despite searching at the time Mallory mentioned, they can't spot either climber against the vast mountain backdrop. A mysterious mist rolls in, shrouding the northeastern ridge. The same path Mallory and Irvine are on, When it clears up around noon, Odell finally spots them in the distance, making their way towards the base of the peak. It's crazy stuff time. But here's the heart-stopping part. They're never seen or heard from again. After getting that last glimpse, Odell heads back to their tent and finds it in complete disarray. What secrets will he uncover next? The mystery deepens. The truth is, despite the team's best efforts, Mallory and Irvine just vanished into thin air. Their bodies remained hidden on the mountain until 1999 when Mallory's was finally discovered wire, but not a sign of Irvine anywhere. Here's what adds an eerie twist. When they found Mallory's body, something was missing, the photo of his wife that he'd carried with him to leave at Everest's summit. It's like the ultimate puzzle piece is gone, leaving us wondering if these two brave climbers actually made it to the top nearly 3 decades before Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norge. The question lingers, did Mallory and Irvine conquer the impossible? Let's get straight to the heart of this mind-blowing tale. What really happened to Mallory and Irvine? The truth is, we may never know for sure, but one thing's certain. The unforgiving terrain of Everest holds secrets that could change everything. You know that spine-chilling scream you hear every night? Some say it's just ice shifting because of the crazy temperature drops, but those who've actually heard it describe it as more like a growl, an angry voice from the mountain itself. It's as if Everest is trying to tell us something, maybe even warning us that it doesn't take too kindly to humans. Could this be more than just coincidence? Buckle up for this wild discovery. In 1951, legendary climber Eric Shipton made a shocking find on Everest that'll leave you speechless, and it's still making waves today. This seasoned adventurer had conquered mountains worldwide, but nothing could have prepared him for what he stumbled upon around 15,000 feet above sea level. That's where he spotted gigantic footprints etched into the snow, like something out of a sci-fi movie. What in the world could have created these enormous imprints? Was it a Yeti, as Dotcher, I'm sure you're dying to know, had some pretty interesting theories about this mysterious discovery? The plot thickens. Eric Shipton's incredible find didn't just stop at those massive footprints. They were seriously bizarre. Dr. Michael Ward, his buddy on this expedition, measured them up and was blown away by their sheer size. We're talking at least twice as wide as a regular human foot here. And get this, the toes seemed all wonky, like they didn't quite fit the standard 5-toe mold. Some even wondered if this mysterious creature rocked 3 toes instead of 5. It's no wonder this jaw-dropping discovery left everyone scratching their heads and wondering what in the world could have made these gigantic footprints. Now you're thinking, okay, so maybe someone was climbing Mount Everest and left behind huge footprints. But here's the thing, it's freezing up there, and frostbite would have been a real concern without proper gear. So, if this were just some adventurous climber, we'd expect to see shoe prints or, at the very least, some pretty serious damage from the cold. And that's not all. These massive footprints didn't exactly scream human either. The only way to explain this bizarre scene was a strange, humanoid creature that could somehow withstand the freezing temps with nothing but its bare feet. That is, unless it was just some random ice depression. But wait, there are multiple prints, and they're all lined up in a straight line. It's like this mysterious creature took a deliberate march across the snowy landscape. So, Shipton and Ward were hot on the trail, following these massive prints for an entire mile before they had to set up camp. That's a whole lot of mystery to keep track of. It looks like our enigmatic footprints weren't just random marks in the snow. This creature was on a mission, and it was heading straight for something. As for what could have made these enormous prints, you might be thinking of the legendary Yeti, the abominable snowman that's been fascinating us for centuries. But here's the thing, if our prints of footprints is indeed linked to this mythical creature, what's its ultimate goal? Was it after food, shelter, or something more sinister lurking in Menlong Basin? The direction of those prints points straight towards the glacier. It's time to dive into the unknown and uncover some answers. Word on the mountain had been circulating for ages. Local Sherpas swore they'd seen a mysterious creature roaming these peaks solo, and now we've got footprints that might just prove them right. Could this be the first real-life proof of the Yeti's existence? But hold up, not everyone's buying it. Some science sleuths have floated wild theories to explain these gigantic prints. From misidentified animals to deliberate deception. Yep, you guessed it. Some folks even think this might have been a clever hoax. But here's the thing. If Shipton and Ward were indeed behind this fake news, why on earth would their entire team go along with the ruse? Wouldn't they risk getting caught and ruining their reputation? It seems we're left with more questions than answers, but one thing's for sure. We're about to embark on a wild journey to uncover the truth. You think a renowned climber like Shipton would risk tarnishing his reputation for some fleeting fame? Not on your life, and same goes for the rest of the Team O. They've got nothing to gain from cooking up a fake story. The fact that everyone's sticking to their guns about something weird happening with the prince only adds to the mystery. Now, get this. One of the scientists involved in the study, Dr. Ward, has thrown out another possibility. What if those massive footprints were actually made by Sherpas who had unusual foot deformities? But wouldn't that be pretty obvious? Wouldn't someone have noticed the guys behind the hoax struggling to walk or something? It's getting weirder by the minute. Time for us to dig deeper. But wait, that still doesn't add up. Why would a Sherpa be trekking up Mount Everest without shoes? And let's not forget those footprints were Hiji-e. As for Dr. Ward's alternative theory, it's just not holding water. There's no concrete evidence linking the prince to some mythical creature. Despite decades of searching, scientists can't seem to crack the code on what could have made those massive prints. Now, I know we're getting all sorts of woo-woo with Yetis here, but hear me out, Zine locals have been sharing stories about these elusive creatures for years, and many a mountaineer claims to have spotted giant footprints along the way. We've even got photos from a trusted source backing it up. So what if there's more to this story than meets the eye? Could our furry friends on the mountain be linked to one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, the disappearance of Mallory and Irvine on that fateful Everest expedition? So was it a Yeti ambush that went down on Everest that day? Did these legendary creatures just not take kindly to humans invading their turf? Or are we looking at some sort of wild hoax here? As intriguing as those possibilities sound, the truth is, no one really knows for sure. But what's clear is that both the mystery footprints and Mallory and Irvine's vanishing act remain unsolved, leaving us with a ton of unanswered questions.